you've like always been my man crush. So like the fact that like before we even met, like I like low key idolize you and still do as an actor.
Right, we've got more coming up from those two guys very soon. The bromance is real. I'm Max, and this is Flip Your Wig. Guys, don't forget to turn your notifications on and subscribe so you don't miss a video. Mr. Corman, boy, do I love this series. It's currently streaming over on Apple TV+. It follows the life of Josh Corman, played by Joseph Gordon-Levitt. A career in music hasn't panned out, and he teaches 5th grade at a public school. His ex-fiancée Megan has moved out and his high school buddy Victor has moved in. He knows he has a lot to be thankful for, but finds himself struggling nevertheless through anxiety, loneliness, and this sinking suspicion that he sucks as a person. This series is dark, it's funny, it's entertaining, and it's got so much heart. It's absolutely touched me. Episode 5 just went live with special guest Bobby Logic Hall, who is actually awesome in this. The two guys sat down and chatted bromance, acting, insecurities, and following their hearts.
Are you in front of lighting?
Yes. We did a little bit of acting when we made that music video together. The first project we did was hit record.
No. That was my stunt double. Yes, I remember that. Actually, I'll never forget that. But I won't interrupt you. Please continue, because I
just remember, because we were making a music video for this song that you had made with people on hit record. And then we were like, all right, but let's do something before the song starts. Let's do like a little scene. And we did the little scene. And I mean, it was really only a couple lines. But I feel like I can tell, even from just a couple lines, there's a difference between somebody who feels like they're reading dialogue off a page and someone who sounds like they're just really talking. And it was only a few lines. So I was like, oh, I think I'm smelling that like this guy actually really knows how to do this. And so then when I was writing this part and co-writing the part with a number of other writers, I was trying to, well, by the way, you would full on said like, yo, if there's a role in your show, you should.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, of course.
But I was thinking of it. I was like, I bet he could actually do this really, really well. And then you came over to my house and you fully auditioned, which is a chance thing to do.
No, I have a crazy story. So one, let me just piggyback on the whole hit record. Amazing experience, a real highlight of my life. I had such a blast doing it, meeting incredible people from all over the world, musicians. It was amazing. And then us just becoming homies from that, truly organically and naturally. I mean, we've gone on double dates with our wives. Like, it's just, you're my boy, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And so I remember being in that van with like 1,000 people. And they're all in the back, and we were doing this this skit. And so that was just such a great moment for me, because I felt like, wow, I know I'm not like really acting, but I am acting, but this is really fun.
You're definitely really acting.
And I remember that vividly. I just want to say that. And then this real story, I don't know if you know this, but my boy Mikey, who's my producer, your people would just hit him up, because obviously we text, but we're not always texting about business, right? People should know that. And yeah, it was really, I was just kind of doing my thing, and they were like, oh, Joe wants to talk to you about something. And I was like, okay, cool, what? And then we spoke, and it was basically like, hey man, do you want to, sorry, this phone almost died. Do you want to come to my house and just like read, like go over lines? Now this was on a Sunday, right? And what was the exact address of your house again? I think no. So this was on a Sunday, and the audition was on a Monday. So for those of you out there, like, Joe was just being a really nice guy. Why does this keep going to black? I don't know why. It's annoying. Joe was just being a really nice guy and offering to just run lines with me, and that's all it was. And I was like, yeah, man. If I feel like I'd be getting a real inside scoop on the situation by doing that. So I go to his house and have dinner. We all have dinner, and it was very nice, really good experience. And then we start kind of going over the lines. And one, you showed me this really amazing black and white film, and the characters were talking really fast, almost unnatural. Mm-hmm. And you were kind of explaining that you wanted it to be like that, only feel a little more natural at the same time. It was amazing. And we walk upstairs, because I was like, can I get some air? And we're outside. This won't be much longer, I promise. We're outside and kind of taking a breather. And I'm like, hey, man, why are you kind of pushing for this? And you were like, what do you mean? And I was like, you're kind of like, you want me to do good, and I want to do good. You see, that's really weird. And I want to do good, but I can tell you really want to help me in my career and what I'm doing. Do you remember what you said?
I don't remember exactly what I said. You tell me.
You said, because I know how much you love this, you are an actor. And I think regardless of if you get this part or not, if it works out or not, I think you will go on to do great things as an actor. And first of all, it meant so much to me. And you said, I want to be able to say, I did that. That I helped him and I gave him his start. And you didn't say it in a like an extra way. You said it in a really sweet way.
Damn. It's true though. I take real pride in being able to say in the credits of episode 5, it says, and introducing Bobby Hall. And like I am proud of that, because I'll repeat what you just said. I absolutely think you're a real actor. You're a talented actor. Not every musician is, because they're two different skills. You know, speaking from the heart when you're singing or something it's not the same thing as speaking from the heart when you're doing realistic dialogue. And you can do both. There's a saying I like, that it's the most valiant thing you can do as an artist is inspire somebody else to be creative. And if I was able to inspire you at all, that's really meaningful for me, because you inspire me. And I've had plenty of days where I need a little pick-me-up, or I need to, get some energy or whatever, and I'll put on one of your songs and it speaks to me in just the right way, And that's what making art of any kind, whether it's movies or music or books or whatever else, that's what it's about, is that you're able to give that to somebody else.
You're directing, you're writing, you're starring, so you have to act, and it's like so many different modes that you're in and kind of going in and out of while being on set. But particularly with episode 5, what is something that stands out for you about that recording process or that day? I remember that was the day we really found out like COVID was like extra crazy. So whether it's that, whether it's acting, whether it's a scene, what's something, at least from our episode, that you remember?
I mean, I would probably say the fight sequence. I love this whole episode for sure, but if you watch it, there's this fantastical fight sequence in it. And, in my life, I've been real lucky. I've gotten to do lots of different fight sequences in movies and stuff. And I've watched it done many times. I've participated many times. And I love doing it. It's always been fun. So doing this one was kind of my chance of like, all right, now I want to do one. How am I going to do something different? How am I going to like make this special to me? So it's something that I would do that I wouldn't normally get to do if I were just, in
a film or doing something that somebody else.
Yeah. Exactly. If I were hired to be acting in someone else's thing. And so the fight sequence is weird. But
it's dope though.
Oh, when I say weird, I mean that in a good way. I like shit that's weird. And it's funny, and it looks very different than a normal fight sequence. We shot it on this green screen, and it's this photo collage all around us, and there's undercurrents of what it means to be masculine, what it means, we're all dressed up because it's a Halloween episode. We're all dressed up in different costumes, and each costume is sort of an archetype of masculinity. You're dressed up in a full-on crazy cowboy outfit. Arturo is literally Batman. There's a Viking, there's a soldier, there's a samurai, there's, we're playing with all the different stereotypes or archetypes, you could say, of, these masculine fighter guys. Because that's sort of what the episode is about, is what does that mean to have to fit into the idea of being a man? And I've always, personally, I've always kind of wrestled with that, because in certain ways I feel like I am your conventional man and I like man things, etc., blah blah blah. But then in other ways I'm like, geez, I don't identify with this kind of man thing at all. And and so when you end up going out at night and having to, like, you know, be a man or something, which is what the story's about, is, you know, our characters, mine and yours and Arturo's, were like out at night being men, thinking about what, you know, trying to, you know, meet a woman, etc. All these things you're expected to fit into a stereotype or a archetype or a persona or what have you. It can be complicated, problematic, and funny, and so those themes are what I was trying to get into within the fight. And if you look at all the different kind of elements in the collage in the background of our fight, you'll see all these different symbols of masculinity. And one of the storylines in this episode has to do with social media, and it's maybe ironic talking about this while we're sitting here on Instagram.
Yeah, I know.
So for anybody who's seen the episode, because it just came out today, you know what I'm talking about. I won't spoil anything, but you play a character who is definitely very focused on social media, his follower count, everyone else's follower count, etc. And this is something I have a lot of thoughts on, and I know you do too, because you write about it in your lyrics. Like I've noticed in the number of songs you talk about social media. So I'm curious to hear you talk about that in terms of the storyline in this episode.
It's funny because I'm reading, let me see right now. Logic is not amazing. I think that's a perfect way to then go into we have this comment that says this thing. Yes, this character is definitely obsessed, and he's obsessed with like image and looking cool and being this or that or XYZ. And I've been there as well. I've been there. Yeah, it's just like it's weird because I believe people like us, we really are ourselves, and we show ourselves in our art and whatever. But then there's still, it's like you kind of got to be on. And like even right now, it's like, do I look okay? Like,
I'm sitting here fucking with my hair, dude.
I know.
Like,
me too,
we
man.
just said, oh, I've been there. Like I've been there 30 seconds ago. Like I go in and out of it all day long.
But it's funny because there's a part that makes sense. It's like, I want to look nice for these people, the people that actually care, the people that actually are showing up, so listening to us, whatever the case may be, because for me, it's extremely important that they know I care. So if I want to look nice, my hat's good, I'm doing that for them. I think that then can go into a completely different level of like, I'm trying to look good for the likes or for the this or for the that. I haven't been on social media in almost 2 years now. My assistant handles everything. It's why I'm an old man and didn't know how to even do this situation. Social media has made me depressed. Social media has actually had me at times contemplating if my life even matters and if I should continue to pursue that. But then I'm like, wait, but if I actually do this very dark deed, then I'll be the meme, because like the 1-800 guy can't, like, it's just like insane. the level of what this place does to you. And, you know, whether you have a comment that tells you you're not amazing, you're not good enough, you're not this, you're not that, we're still human beings. I'm a 6-year-old little boy who just wants to create and have fun, and you have these grown-ups telling you that you suck or you're whack or you should quit or you're not this or you're not that. But for me, I don't do it for them. There was a time in my life when I did, and I was at my most unhappy. And now that I'm just off the internet, and the only time that I can give them content is with friends, and it's just through things that I absolutely love and subjects that I can talk about, it makes me happy. So the way that you wrote this character and it was created, it really is genius, because it shows so much of like what we're focused on nowadays and what really matters to people and this and that. I think social media is an amazing place, and I think it's brought people together. It certainly brought us together, but I think it can also be dark as well, and it's just good to balance that. And I think that this specific episode really talks on that in a really great way.
Yeah, I want to just say it wasn't me alone writing this character, and Roja and Julia, two wonderful writers, wrote this episode, and so it's a collaborative process. And you brought so much to it too, man. You brought so much to it, and you brought even not just in your performance, but even in some of the lines that you made your own, which is the sign of a strong actor, that you're like, this is I think how I would say this.
But that was cool that you
I totally agree with you.
Because some people don't. Some people are just like, say it like it's on the page, which is fine.
Mm-hmm.
But it really was really kind of cool that you let me just throw in certain words here, like even the Obi-Wan Kenobi line, or those little things. Like, that was funny, you know what I mean? And it was really sweet of you to let me kind of just put my sprinkles on this character that, yes, the Village created as a whole, and these amazing writers and people that you work with as well. So it was very sweet, and just thank you, man. Thank you for the experience. One thing I'll say is my entire career in music, I was never present. All the way from the basement with Big Lembo to Madison Square Garden, I was always the next. What's next? What's next? What's next? What's next? And once I got to the ultimate goal, which I'd like to think is a family and my son, while now, you know, living in this house, metaphorically and actually, that music built, I can finally live in it, take my time, and now I'm building an addition, and that addition is acting. And on set, those days, there was times when I was like, okay, after this, I got to get a movie role. I got to get it. And then I stopped, learned from the past of not being present, and went, right now, I'm an actor. Right now, I'm doing lines with JGL. Like, this is crazy. I am on a set, I'm acting, and right now is all that matters. So thank you for giving me that peace. I appreciate it.
Dude, I love how you said that. That's actually a lot of what Mr. Corman is about, is a guy who's wrestling with that question. How do you be present? How do you find gratitude in what your life is at the moment? And I personally, like, I have so much to be grateful for in my life, but I'd be lying if I said I was always able to do what you're talking about and be present in that moment and just fill myself up with gratitude. I try and I'm successful sometimes, but not all the time. And the same with the character in this story, the Mr. Corman, Josh Corman. He has a lot to be grateful for, and he's happy sometimes, but the story, especially in this first season, is about those moments where, even though I know I have a good job, I have a good support system, I'm healthy, I'm safe, I have so much to be grateful for, sometimes my brain goes to dark places and goes around in these whirlpools, and I don't want it to, but it happens sometimes, and I can't seem to help it. I'm trying. And that's the story of this show, and over the course of the season, hopefully you kind of, each episode you peel back the onion a little bit more, and you understand who the guy is and why he is the way he is, and by the end, the last moment of the last episode, he really is in that presence. He's like, I'm right here, I'm right now, and that's what it is, and that feels good. So I love that you talked about presence like that.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of the journey, the balance. I mean, people give away all their worldly possessions and travel the world for 20 years in search of that moment. You know what I mean? So it's like, becoming a monk or this or that or whatever the case may be. But I definitely felt that. It resonated with me. It stayed with me. The writing in this, I really love. And I also love it because, like, the way it's written, it's like an every man or every woman. Like, it's written not even just from the perspective of some guy. It's like, J.J. Abrams said when he was working on when he was bringing the installment back for Star Wars, somebody had asked him, how was it writing a woman? Was it difficult writing a woman? He's like, no, I just wrote a human being, and it just so happens to be she's a she and she's a badass. Like, it is what it is. And I get that same vibe when I think of this main character, Josh. And also the things that you touch upon. I mean, yeah, you touch upon anxiety. You touch upon, like, having a great life, like, on paper, but also what so many people do and how so many people live, myself included, before I ever had a dime, which is like going to a job, which is cool and kind of fulfilling, to get a paycheck, to afford gas for your car to take you to your work and home and this and XYZ. And to me, I think a lot of people are going to relate to that. And I also love, you know, so many stories and so many things depict that, like, the hurrah moment has to be this gigantic, like, I made it, or I'm a millionaire, or I'm rich and famous, or I'm this, or I'm that. But for me, the underlying goal of our character is more so just, like, honestly, like, internal happiness, like being happy with himself and with the hobbies or the creative outlets that he has or had had. And then not to give anything away, but it's so special to me, man. I just feel like you just wrote people. You wrote people. I look at Josh, I see people. I see people of all colors and creeds and religions and this and that and whatever. He's just a guy trying to figure out his place in the world, and I feel like, aren't we all?
That means a lot to me, man. Thank you.
Oh, you gotta ride that bull 8 seconds to win.
Guys, don't forget to subscribe for more videos, turn your notifications on also so you don't miss anything. And don't forget, Mr. Corman is currently streaming over on Apple TV+. Take care, I'll be back soon. Bye.